Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel for further notifications. Thank you and keep watching. Students of semester 4, this is the title of your next paper for semester 4 English. The title is Indian Literature in Translation and Translation Practice. Now in this unit 1 you have to study. First topic is Introducing Translation, a brief history and significance of translation in a multilinguistic and multicultural society like India. Second topic is Literal translation versus free translation. Now in unit 2 we have to study using tools of technology for translation. These tools are computer, mobile translation, software or translating different kinds of texts with different levels of complexity, and for transliteration. Third topic is of fiction, and in this you have to study रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर द होम एंड द वर्ल्ड, इसका ट्रांसलेशन किया था सुरेंद्रनाथ टैगोर ने। और अमृता प्रीतम पिंजर, तो ये इटैलिक्स में वर्ड लिखे हैं, ये इनके नावल का नाम है पिंजर। द स्केलेटन एंड अदर स्टोरीज, तो ये ट्रांसलेटेड बाय खुशवंत सिंह, न्यू दिल्ली। तो इसमें से आपको एक ही टॉपिक सेलेक्ट करना है थर्ड यूनिट में। Now we will move on to unit 4 is of poetry, and you have to select only one topic out of these two, either Jaishankar Prasad Anshu or Kabir, the English writings of Rabindranath Tagore. Only one topic we have to prepare. Next unit is of short fiction, and there are two stories, two novels. First is Bhishma Sahani's Amritsar Aa Gaya, and second is Mahashweta Devi's The Hunt. And sixth unit is of drama for your semester 4 and syllabus in your class when you will buy your syllabus in your class when you will buy your books.
Start an online fashion business from home. It doesn't matter if you do not have fashion background.
Welcome to my channel, the analysis hole, the black hole of exploring knowledge. Please like and subscribe. Note down some of the important one-word questions from your chapter, The Home and the World. Question number 1. Who wrote The Home and the World? The answer is Rabindranath Tagore. Second, who narrates the story? Answer is it is a multiple first person narrative by Bimla, Nikhil and Sandeep. Question number 3. When was Home and the World published? Answer is 1916. When is the story set? From 1907 to 1908. Question number 5. Who was the wife of Nikhil? The answer is Bimla. Question number 6. Bimla's adopted son. The name of Bimla's adopted son. The answer is Amolya. Question number 7. An English woman who taught Bimla to be a modern woman. The answer is Miss Gilby. Question number 8. Name of Nikhil's teacher. Answer is Chandana Babu. Question 9. Significance of putting Babu at the end of the name. The Babu represents respect. Question 10. What is the political movement in this novel? Answer is Swadeshi. 11. What is the meaning of the word Swadeshi? Answer is Swa means of one's, and Deshi means country. Question number 12. The movement that insisted on the use of domestically made goods. The answer is Swadeshi movement. Question 13. What does Nikhil want for Bimla? Nikhil want Bimla to become a modern woman and come out of the parda. Question 14. What was the first province to be colonized by the British? Answer is Bengal. Question 16. In which year Bengal was partitioned? Answer is 1905. Question 17. What was the partition of Bengal? Answer is West Bengal for Hindus and East Bengal for Muslims. Question 18. What religion did Bimla practice? Answer is Hinduism. Question 19. Who benefited from the separation of Bengal? Answer is Muslims. Question 20. What do the dying flowers on the picture frame represent? Answer is the dying relationship between Bimla and Nikhil. Question 21. How much money does Sandeep ask Bimla to get? Answer is 50,000 rupees. Question 22. How much money does Bimla actually get him? Answer is 6,000 rupees. Question 23. Name of Nikhil's tenant farmer. Answer is Panchu. Question 24. A Muslim trader whose boat was sunk by Sandeep. Answer is Mirjan. Question 25. Who was the Bararani? Answer is Nikhil's sister-in-law. Now note down some of these one-word questions that are coming in your external exams, and note them in your notebook.
The Revenue Stamp is a novel by Amrita Pritam that revolves around the life of an Indian woman named Jind Kaur. The novel is set in the pre-independence era, and Jind Kaur's life reflects the struggles and hardships faced by women in a patriarchal society. Jind Kaur is a strong-willed woman who has been raised in a traditional Punjabi family. She is married off to a man who turns out to be an abusive alcoholic, and her life becomes a constant struggle to survive. Despite her difficult circumstances, Jind Kaur remains determined to make a better life for herself and her children. Through Jind Kaur's story, the novel explores themes of gender inequality, domestic violence, and the impact of colonialism on Indian society. The title of the novel, The Revenue Stamp, serves as a metaphor for the various forms of oppression that Jind Kaur and other women like her are forced to endure. Overall, The Revenue Stamp is a powerful and poignant novel that sheds light on the struggles and resilience of Indian women during a time of great social and political change.
Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for further notifications to my upcoming videos. So students, this is your previous year question paper for your external exam. This is a sample for your external exams. So you can take the help of this, that what kind of questions are going to be come in your upcoming external exams. So go through this paper. This is the first page, and you have to write your roll number in figures. मतलब जैसे हम मैथ्स में निकले 2100, और ऐसे ही रोल नंबर आपको वर्ड्स में लिखना है, TWO2 ONE1 ऐसे करके जो भी आपका रोल नंबर है पूरा स्पेलिंग्स में। फिर अपना एनरोलमेंट, फिर नेम ऑफ एग्ज़ाम सेंटर अपने कॉलेज का नाम, और यहाँ सिग्नेचर ऑफ इन्विजिलेटर पे आपके रूम में जिसकी भी ड्यूटी होगी टीचर की वो यहाँ पर सिग्नेचर करेंगी। ये रहेगा आपका मैक्सिमम मार्क्स 75 मार्क्स का और टाइम आपको मिलेगा 2 आवर्स। सो ये यहाँ पर कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शंस दी गई हैं, ये भी आप एक बार पढ़ लेना। सो हियर वी स्टार्ट योर क्वेश्चंस। दिस पेपर इज़ ओनली फॉर योर ओनली हेल्प एज योर गाइडेंस। अब ये ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आपके यही वाले क्वेश्चन वहाँ पर आएंगे एग्ज़ाम्स में, तो इनकी आप हेल्प ले सकते हैं। इस तरह का आपका पेपर आता है। सो यू कैन गो थ्रू दिस पेपर। Page 3, page 4 started, and these are the questions. Now page 5 started. These are the questions. Sixth page now. Now the 7th page. Now the 8th page. तो ज़रूरी नहीं है आपके ये क्वेश्चंस आएंगे, इससे अलग भी आपके क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं पूरी बुक में से कहीं से भी। ये सिर्फ आपको सैम्पल है कि आपका क्वेश्चन पेपर एक्सटर्नल एग्ज़ाम्स में इस तरह से आता है। दिस इज़ द होल पेपर। नाउ नेक्स्ट पेज। The questions will be 100 and you have to attempt only 75. आपको इनमें से सिर्फ 75 क्वेश्चंस ही अटैम्प्ट करने हैं। 2 आवर्स मिलेंगे आपको करने के लिए और 100 में से आपको 75 क्वेश्चंस अटैम्प्ट करने हैं। OMR शीट आपको मिलेगी। तो होप आपको समझ आ गया होगा कि आपका क्वेश्चन पेपर किस तरह से आने वाला है।
सर, एक आम आदमी एआई और चैट जीपीटी से क्यों भागे जा रहा है? क्यों उसको आसान शब्द में कोई सिखा नहीं पा रहा है?
देखिए, एआई और चैट जीपीटी से लोगों के दिमाग में ना एक डर पैदा हो।
Welcome to my channel Analysis Hole, the black hole of exploring knowledge. Please like and subscribe for further notifications.
1. What is the central theme of Kabir's poetry, as translated by Rabindranath Tagore? Answer. The central theme is the unity of God and the universality of spirituality. 2. Which literary figure translated Kabir's poetry into English? Answer. Rabindranath Tagore. 3. Kabir's poetry emphasizes the importance of what in spiritual life? Answer. Kabir's poetry emphasizes the importance of inner devotion and direct connection with God. 4. What does Kabir often use in his poetry to convey deeper philosophical meanings? Answer. Kabir often uses metaphors and allegorical language in his poetry. 5. Kabir's poetry reflects the influence of which major religions? Answer. Kabir's poetry reflects the influence of Hinduism and Islam. 6. What does Kabir refer to as the supreme truth in his poetry? Answer. Kabir refers to the ultimate reality or God as the supreme truth. 7. In Kabir's view, what is the path to salvation? Answer. According to Kabir, the path to salvation is through devotion, self-realization, and love for God. 8. Kabir's poems often critique the rituals and formalities of which religious practices? Answer. Kabir's poems often critique the rituals and formalities of organized religion, including both Hinduism and Islam. 9. What message does Kabir convey regarding the divisions among humans in his poetry? Answer. Kabir's poetry advocates for the unity of all humans, transcending religious and social divisions. 10. What is the significance of Kabir's poetry in the context of Indian literature? Answer. Kabir's poetry holds great significance in Indian literature for its spiritual depth and universal appeal, emphasizing the oneness of humanity and God.
11. What is the term used to describe Kabir's style of poetry? Answer. Kabir's style of poetry is often described as bhakti poetry, emphasizing devotion and love for God. 12. Which language did Kabir primarily use for his poetry? Answer. Kabir primarily used the language of Avidhi for his poetry. 13. Kabir's poetry often criticizes the external display of religious devotion. What term is used for this in his poetry? Answer. Kabir criticizes hypocrisy or false piety in his poetry. 14. According to Kabir, what is the fundamental truth that unites all religions? Answer. Kabir believes that the fundamental truth uniting all religions is the existence of one supreme God. 15. Kabir's poetry advocates for a direct connection with God, bypassing the need for what? Answer. Kabir's poetry advocates for a direct connection with God, bypassing the need for intermediaries such as priests. 16. What is the primary emotion expressed in Kabir's devotional poetry? Answer. The primary emotion expressed in Kabir's devotional poetry is love for God. 17. Kabir often uses metaphors involving what elements of nature in his poetry? Answer. Kabir often uses metaphors involving elements of nature such as water, wind, and fire in his poetry. 18. What is the term used for Kabir's belief in the formless, attributeless nature of God? Answer. Kabir's belief in the formless, attributeless nature of God is referred to as Nirguna Bhakti. 19. What does Kabir's poetry teach about the importance of humility? Answer. Kabir's poetry teaches that humility is essential on the path to spiritual realization. 20. In Kabir's view, what is the key to finding God? Answer. In Kabir's view, the key to finding God is to seek within oneself through meditation and self-realization. 21. Which religious texts influenced Kabir's philosophical ideas? Answer. Kabir was influenced by the Vedas, Quran, and other spiritual texts. 22. What does Kabir mean by the term sahaj in his poetry? Answer. In Kabir's poetry, sahaj signifies a state of natural and effortless spiritual realization. 23. Kabir's poems often emphasize the importance of what kind of love? Answer. Kabir's poems emphasize the importance of divine love or love for the Creator. 24. Which of Kabir's poetic compositions is considered his most famous work? Answer. Kabir's Baijak is considered one of his most famous works. 25. Kabir's poetry encourages people to transcend the boundaries of what? Answer. Kabir's poetry encourages people to transcend the boundaries of caste and creed. 26. What is the term used for Kabir's belief in the equality of all individuals in the eyes of God? Answer. Kabir believed in the spiritual equality of all individuals. 27. What is the central teaching of Kabir's poetry regarding the path to God? Answer. The central teaching of Kabir's poetry is that the path to God is through inner devotion and self-realization. 28. In Kabir's view, what is the root cause of human suffering? Answer. Kabir believed that the root cause of human suffering is ignorance of one's true nature and separation from God. 29. What does Kabir's poetry suggest about the importance of leading a simple life? Answer. Kabir's poetry suggests that leading a simple and humble life is conducive to spiritual growth. 30. What is the term used for Kabir's belief in the divine presence within every individual? Answer. Kabir believed in the inner divinity present within every individual. 31. Which poetic form did Kabir primarily use in his compositions? Answer. Kabir primarily used the dohas or couplets form in his compositions. 32. Kabir's poetry often conveys a message of unity between which two religious traditions? Answer. Kabir's poetry conveys a message of unity between Hinduism and Islam. 33. Kabir's poems frequently address the concept of what in the context of human existence? Answer. Kabir's poems frequently address the concept of mortality or the transient nature of human existence. 34. What term does Kabir use to describe the Supreme God, beyond all attributes and forms? Answer. Kabir often refers to the Supreme God as the Anami or the Formless One. 35. According to Kabir, where does one ultimately find God? Answer. According to Kabir, one ultimately finds God within oneself. 36. What is the term used for the devotion that is devoid of any desires or expectations? Answer. Kabir emphasized Nishkama Bhakti or selfless devotion. 37. Kabir's poetry often critiques the pursuit of what worldly desires? Answer. Kabir's poetry critiques the pursuit of material wealth and worldly desires. 38. What does Kabir mean when he talks about the soundless sound in his poetry?
The reason behind your overthinking is your brain is caught in a negative loop. Hi, I'm Dr. Meghna Dikshit, a brain and...
Answer. Kabir's soundless sound refers to the ultimate, ineffable reality of God. 39. Kabir's poems urge individuals to focus on what aspect of spiritual practice? Answer. Kabir's poems urge individuals to focus on the inner experience and realization of God. 40. What is the ultimate goal of Kabir's spiritual teachings, as expressed in his poetry? Answer. The ultimate goal of Kabir's spiritual teachings is to attain union with the divine and experience spiritual liberation. 41. Kabir's poetry often employs what type of language to convey profound spiritual truths? Answer. Kabir's poetry often employs metaphorical and allegorical language. 42. What is the term used to describe Kabir's belief in the oneness of God? Answer. Kabir believed in monotheism, the belief in the existence of one God. 43. In Kabir's view, what is the source of true wisdom and knowledge? Answer. According to Kabir, true wisdom and knowledge come from direct experience of God. 44. What key concept does Kabir's poetry emphasize regarding the relationship between the individual and God? Answer. Kabir's poetry emphasizes the concept of Atmagyan or self-realization in relation to God. 45. What does Kabir's poetry teach about the nature of the material world? Answer. Kabir's poetry teaches that the material world is transient and illusory. 46. Kabir's poems often use the metaphor of the lotus to represent what aspect of spirituality? Answer. The lotus is used as a metaphor for purity and spiritual awakening in Kabir's poetry. 47. What does Kabir mean by the term Sant Mat in his poetry? Answer. Kabir's Sant Mat refers to the path of the saints, emphasizing inner devotion and realization. 48. In Kabir's philosophy, what is the role of the guru or spiritual guide? Answer. The guru in Kabir's philosophy is a guide who leads the seeker to inner realization and God. 49. Kabir's poetry often emphasizes the importance of what spiritual quality in individuals? Answer. Kabir's poetry emphasizes the importance of sincerity and integrity in one's spiritual journey. 50. What message does Kabir convey regarding the inclusivity of his teachings? Answer. Kabir's teachings are inclusive and meant for all, irrespective of caste, creed, or background.
Welcome to my channel, Analysis Hole, the black hole of exploring knowledge. Please like and subscribe for further notifications. Students, today I am going to tell you about some of the important questions, important objective type, very short questions from महाश्वेता देवीज स्टोरी द हंट। तो ये क्वेश्चन जो मैं आपको बताती हूँ ये आपको सिर्फ अपने याद रखने हैं, दिमाग में रखने हैं, रटने नहीं हैं, क्योंकि वहाँ पर आपको 4 ऑप्शन मिलेंगे। तो आपको उसका सही ऑप्शन पता होगा तो आप अपने करेक्ट आंसर पर टिक लगा देंगे। तो बस आपको इसको लर्न नहीं करना है, सिर्फ करेक्ट आंसर इसका पता होना चाहिए, इसलिए मैं आपको ये वीडियोस बना कर दे रही हूँ। Now question number 1. What is the central theme of the hunt by Mahashweta Devi? The central theme of the hunt revolves around the exploitation of tribal communities and their struggle for survival in the face of oppression. Now question 2. Who is the author of the hunt? The author of the hunt is Mahashweta Devi. Where is the setting of the story The Hunt? मतलब कहाँ की स्टोरी है ये? The story is set in a forested region in India inhabited by tribal communities. जहाँ पर ट्राइबल लोग रहते थे, जंगल का रीजन था, वहाँ की स्टोरी है ये। What is the occupation of the protagonist Dooli in the story? तो क्या occupation है डूली की? Dooli is a tribal woman who collects firewood and bamboo shoots from the forest. What is the conflict that drives the plot of the hunt? तो क्या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट थी जिससे प्लॉट इसका चलता है, मतलब क्या स्टोरी है इसकी हंट की, कैसे पता लगता है हमें क्या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है इसमें? द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इन द स्टोरी अराइजेज व्हेन अ फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर अक्यूजेज ड्यूली ऑफ थेफ्ट एंड अटेम्प्ट्स टू एक्सप्लॉइट हर। तो फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर ड्यूली पर जब इल्ज़ाम लगाता है चोरी का, तो यहाँ से इसका कॉन्फ्लिक्ट स्टार्ट होती है। व्हाट इज़ द रोल ऑफ द फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर ज्योतिर्मय इन द स्टोरी? तो फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर का नाम था ज्योतिर्मय। ज्योतिर्मय इज़ द एंटेगनिस्ट इन द स्टोरी रिप्रेजेंटिंग द ऑपरेसिव गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटी दैट एक्सप्लॉइट्स द ट्राइबल पीपल। वो हमेशा ट्राइबल पीपल का एक्सप्लॉइटेशन करता था। व्हाट इज़ द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ द टाइटल द हंट इन द स्टोरी? The title The Hunt refers to the constant struggle and persecution faced by the tribal people in the forest. How does Dooli respond to Jyotirmoy's accusations? Answer. Dooli responds by initially denying the accusations but later standing up for herself and her community. What is the outcome of the confrontation between Dooli and Jyotirmoy? The confrontation results in Dooli and the tribal community resisting Jyotirmoy's exploitation and asserting their rights. What message or social issue does Mahashweta Devi addresses in the hunt? अब इस बुक से श्वेता देवी क्या मैसेज देना चाहती है हमें? In the hunt, Mahashweta Devi addresses the exploitation of marginalization of tribal communities. तो यहाँ पर उसने दिखाया है कि कैसे कैसे ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज़ का एक्सप्लॉइटेशन होता है and the resilience they exhibit in the face of oppression. तो क्या क्या उन्हें कठिनाइयों का सामना करना पड़ता है। Question number 11. What is the role of the forest in the lives of the tribal people in the story? The forest is a vital source of livelihood and sustenance for tribal people. मतलब उनकी आजीविका का एक साधन होता है फॉरेस्ट, and it holds cultural and spiritual significance for them. What does the character of Jyotirmoy symbolize in the story? Jyotirmoy symbolizes the oppressive and exploitative forces of government authority and target vulnerable communities. How does Dooli's character evolve through the story? Dooli's character evolves from a timid victim to a strong and defiant woman who leads her community in resisting exploitation. What role do the tribal women play in the story's resolution? The tribal women, including Dooli, play a crucial role in organizing and leading the resilience against Jyotirmoy. What does the story The Hunt reveal about resilience of marginalized communities? The Hunt highlights to the incredible resilience and determination of marginalized tribal communities in the face of oppression and exploitation. What is the relationship between Dooli and the forest? Dooli shares a deep and symbiotic relationship with the forest as if it provides her livelihood and sustenance. How does Dooli's community react when she is accused by Jyotirmoy? Dooli's community rallies behind her, showing solidarity and support against Jyotirmoy's accusations. What is the role of the character Ruku in the story? Ruku is a fellow tribal woman who supports and encourages Dooli to stand up against Jyotirmoy's exploitation. तो रुकू जो थी वो डोली की फ्रेंड थी, ट्राइबल वुमेन ही थी जो उसके साथ खड़ी रही, उसको इनकरेज करती रही डोली को ज्योतिर्मय के एक्सप्लॉइटेशन के अगेंस्ट. What does tribal community do to resist Jyotirmoy's harassment? The tribal community organizes a protest and refuses to be intimidated by Jyotirmoy's authority. What does the story reveal about the power dynamics between the government and tribal communities? The story highlights the unequal power dynamics where the government officials wield authority and exploit vulnerable tribal communities. How does Dooli challenge Jyotirmoy's authority? Dooli challenges Jyotirmoy's authority by standing up for her rights and rallying her community to resist his exploitation. What is the significance of the traditional drum in the story? The traditional drum serves as a symbol of unity and resilience for the tribal community. What is the turning point in the story? The turning point occurs when Dooli decides to fight back against Jyotirmoy's accusations and operation. How does the story depict the consequences of colonialism and displacement? The story indirectly depicts the consequences and colonialism and displacement through the exploitation faced by the tribal people. What does the character of the teacher symbolize in the story? The teacher symbolizes the educated class that seeks to bridge the gap between the tribal community and government. What role does traditional folklore play in the story? Traditional folklore reinforces the sense of identity, culture, and resistance within the tribal community. How does Mahashweta Devi use symbolism in the hunt? The traditional drum, forest, and folklore are examples of symbols used to convey deeper meanings and themes in the story. How does the story depict the struggle for land rights? The story reflects the struggle of the tribal community to retain their land and resources in the face of encroachment or by outsiders. What is the impact of Dooli's activism on her community? Dooli's activism empowers her community to resist exploitation and take a stand against oppression. How does the story depict the tension between modernity and tradition? The story depicts the tension between modern government authority and traditional tribal ways of life. How does Dooli manage to stand her ground against Jyotirmoy's accusation? Dooli's determination, the support of her community, and her courage to assert her rights enable her to stand her ground. What does Dooli mean when she says, "What is not mine I won't touch, no matter how much I starve"? Dooli is referring to her ethics and refusal to steal or exploit, even if it means suffering. How does the tribal community's resilience relate to the title The Hunt? The tribal community's struggle for survival and resistance against exploitation can be seen as a metaphorical hunt for justice and dignity. How does the story criticize the exploitation of natural resources? The story criticizes the exploitation of natural resources by showing how outsiders like Jyotirmoy take advantage of the forest resources at the expense of tribal people. How does Dooli's character challenge gender norms within her community? Dooli's courage and leadership challenge traditional gender norms by showing that women can be strong, assertive. How does the story address the issue of cultural preservation? The story emphasizes the importance of cultural preservation through the tribal community's resilience on folklore and their unity. What does the story reveal about the impact of government policies on marginalized communities? The story reveals that government policies can perpetuate the marginalization of tribal communities by exploiting their resources and denying from their rights. How does the forest officer's attitude reflect colonial mindset? The forest officer's attitude reflects a colonial mindset where those in authority feel entitled to exploit and control marginalized communities. How does Dooley's speech at the meeting demonstrate her leadership? Dooley's speech at the meeting showcases her ability to inspire and unite her community against oppression, displaying her leadership qualities. What message did Mahashweta Devi convey when about the power of collective action? Mahashweta Devi conveys that collective action and unity are powerful tools for marginalized communities to resist exploitation and assert their rights. How does the story portray the government's treatment of tribal people? The story portrays the government's treatment of tribal people as exploitative and dismissive of their rights and needs. What role does Jyotirmoy's upbringing play in his behavior towards the tribal community? Jyotirmoy's privileged upbringing and sense of entitlement contribute to his exploitation behavior towards the tribal community. How does the story suggest that exploitation is not limited to just physical resources? The story suggests that exploitation extends to the social, cultural, and economic well being of marginalized communities beyond just natural resources. What does the forest symbolize for the tribal people in the story? The forest symbolizes a place of sustenance, tradition, and home for the tribal people, making it a central element in their lives. How does Dooley's character resonate with broader themes of social justice? Dooley's story reflects broad, broader themes of social justice, including empowerment, resistance, and the fight against systematic oppression. How does Mahashweta Devi use dialogue to convey the emotions of the characters? Mahashweta Devi uses dialogue to reveal characters' frustrations, determination, and the power dynamics at play in their interactions. How does the story highlight the importance of education for marginalized communities? The story emphasizes the potential of education, symbolized by the teacher, to bridge gaps and empower marginalized communities. What is the significance of the traditional songs sung by the tribal women? The traditional songs serve as a cultural expression that strengthens the unity and resilience of the tribal women. How does the story portray the government's response to protests by marginalized communities? The story portrays the government's response as dismissive and unwilling to address the grievances of marginalized communities. How does the story conclude, and what message does it leave to the reader with? The story concludes with the Dooley's community standing strong against exploitation, leaving the message that unity and resilience can lead to justice. Now, these are some of the questions, and hope these will prove helpful for your upcoming exams.
डव बार में है न्यूट्रिएंट सीरम जो आपको दे हेल्दी और नरिश त्वचा.
Welcome all to my channel, the analysis hole, black hole of exploring knowledge. Please like and subscribe. So I am explaining these two translations, and you have to make one word answers. First write this full answer in your notebook and then take out one word answers from these points. Now I am going to tell you about the computer translation. Computer translation refers to the use of software programs to translate text from one language to another. तो कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशन क्या होता है, जिसमें हम सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोग्राम्स को यूज़ करते हैं किसी एक लैंग्वेज को दूसरी लैंग्वेज में चेंज करने के लिए. These programs use a variety of techniques such as statistical machine translation, neural machine translation and rule-based translation. तो इन जो हम कंप्यूटर सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोग्राम्स यूज़ करते हैं उसमें जो अलग अलग टेक्निक्स यूज़ होती हैं ट्रांसलेशन की, वो ये 3 होती हैं, तो इसमें से भी आप 1 वर्ड आंसर निकाल सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशन हैज़ कम अ लॉन्ग वे इन रिसेंट ईयर्स एंड इज़ नाउ केपेबल ऑफ प्रोड्यूसिंग फेयरली एक्यूरेट ट्रांसलेशंस। तो कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशन से हम एक्यूरेट ट्रांसलेशन निकाल सकते हैं किसी भी लैंग्वेज का। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, however there are still limitations to computer translation, especially when it comes to idiomatic expressions, cultural nuances and technical jargon। तो कहीं कहीं कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशन में भी 2-3 कमी होती हैं जब हम ट्रांसलेट करते हैं किसी इडियोमेटिक एक्सप्रेशन को, मतलब किसी ईडियम को, तो वहाँ में प्रॉब्लम आती है। या कल्चरल किसी का कुछ भी न्यूएंसेस होता है तो उसको जब हम करते हैं ट्रांसलेट तो प्रॉब्लम आती है, या टेक्निकल जार्गन पे। नेक्स्ट इज़ कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशन इज़ वाइडली यूज्ड इन इंडस्ट्रीज सच एज ई-कॉमर्स, कस्टमर सर्विस एंड ट्रैवल वे फास्ट एंड एक्यूरेट ट्रांसलेशंस आर रिक्वायर्ड। तो कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशंस कहाँ पर यूज़ होती हैं? इंडस्ट्रीज़ में, जैसे ई-कॉमर्स में, या कस्टमर सर्विस केयर होता है कोई, वहाँ पर ट्रैवल में, जहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा या एक्यूरेट ट्रांसलेशंस की डिमांड होती है। नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू अबाउट मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन। मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन रेफर टू द यूज़ ऑफ ट्रांसलेशन एप्स ऑन स्मार्टफोन्स एंड अदर मोबाइल डिवाइसेस। तो मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन तो आपका पता ही है, जहाँ पर हम ट्रांसलेशन ऐप्स का यूज़ करते हैं, स्मार्टफोन ऐप्स, स्मार्टफोन्स पर, और जो भी अदर मोबाइल डिवाइसेस होते हैं। These apps are often free or inexpensive and can be downloaded from app stores such as Google Play and the App Store। तो ये जो ऐप होते हैं ये बिल्कुल फ्री होते हैं और हम इनको डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं गूगल प्ले स्टोर से या ऐप स्टोर से। Mobile translation apps use similar techniques as computer translation such as neural machine translation and statistical machine translation। तो मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन ऐप्स में जो टेक्निक्स यूज़ होती हैं वो बिल्कुल सेम वही टेक्निक होती हैं जो कंप्यूटर ट्रांसलेशन में यूज़ की गई होती हैं, जैसे कि न्यूरल मशीन ट्रांसलेशन और स्टैटिस्टिकल मशीन ट्रांसलेशन। तो इससे भी आप 1 वर्ड आंसर्स इन सभी पॉइंट से आप निकाल सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट इज सम मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन ऐप्स ऑल्सो ऑफर एडिशनल फीचर्स सच एज वॉइस रिकॉग्निशन एंड ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी ट्रांसलेशन। तो मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन ऐप्स में ये 2 फीचर भी होते हैं। मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन ऐप्स आर यूजफुल फॉर ट्रैवलर्स, बिजनेस प्रोफेशनल्स एंड एनीवन हु नीड्स टू बी क्विकली ट्रांसलेट टेक्स्ट ऑन द गो। तो ये मोबाइल ऐप ट्रांसलेशन जो ट्रैवलर्स होते हैं उनके लिए इजी रहता है, या कोई बिजनेसमैन हो या एनीवन जिसको बहुत जल्दी अपने टेक्स्ट को ट्रांसलेट करना हो, तो वहाँ पर मोबाइल ट्रांसलेशन का यूज़ होता है। एंड होप ऑल ऑफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड एंड written this answer in your register. Write full answer also and 1 word also from this that I have explained it to you. Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for further notifications to my upcoming videos. Students, these are some of the important objective type questions from your chapter Kanyadan by Vijay Tendulkar. First question, who is the author of Kanyadan? Answer is Vijay Tendulkar. What is the primary theme of Kanyadan? It is social issues and caste dynamics. Who is the protagonist of the play Kanyadan? It is A. Jyoti. What profession does Nath Devlalikar hold? He is a social worker. Who does Jyoti decide to marry in Kanyadan? She decided to marry Arun Athawale, a Dalit. Next question. How does Nath Devlalikar initially feel about Jyoti's marriage decision? It is supportive. What is Arun Athawale's background? He is a Dalit. Which character in the play experiences significant emotional turmoil due to caste issues? The answer is B. Jyoti. What does the title Kanyadan signify in the context of the play? It means a social reform. Which character represents the conservative views on caste in the play? The answer is D. Jyoti. How does Seva Devlalikar react to Jyoti's marriage decision? He is strongly opposed. What does Arun's character primarily struggled with? It is B. Personal identity and societal acceptance. Which social issue is prominently addressed in Kanyadan? It is caste discrimination. How does the play depict the impact of intercaste marriage as problematic and challenging? Which of the following describes Nath's view on social change by the end of the play? It is moderated and reflective. What is Jyoti's emotional state towards the end of the play? It is conflicted and disillusioned. Who among the characters advocates for traditional values? It is Seva Devlalikar. Which character embodies the struggle of integrating different social classes? It is Arun Athawale. How does Arun react to the societal discrimination he faces by becoming violent and abusive? What is the setting of Kanyadan? Nath's household and its surroundings. What drives Jyoti's initial attraction to Arun? His rebellious nature and poetry. What kind of literary work is Kanyadan? It is the play. What does Nath Devlalikar believe about intercaste marriages? He believes that they can serve as a means for social reform. Which of the following is a major conflict in Kanyadan? Individual desires versus societal expectations. How does the play Kanyadan end? It ended with unresolved tensions. What role does Seva Devlalikar play in the family dynamics? She supports traditional values. What literary technique is prominently used by Tendulkar in Kanyadan? The realistic dialogue and social critique. Which character shows a deep commitment to social activism in Kanyadan? Nath Devlalikar. Which aspect of Arun's personality attracts Jyoti? His artistic sensibility. And the last question, in Kanyadan, what does Jyoti's experience ultimately reveal about her idealistic views on social reform? They are challenged and complicated by reality. So note down all these answers.
ये रहे चिंटू के महीने भर के दाग। हल्दी, तेल, अचार और चिंटू के महीने भर के जिद्दी दागों के लिए नया सर्फ एक्सेल सिर्फ 99 रुपए में महीने भर चले।
Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for further notifications to my upcoming videos. These are the objective type questions from the poem of Jaishankar Prasad, Aansu. What is the genre of Aansu by Jaishankar Prasad? It is a poetry. When was Aansu first published? It was published in 1925. What is the central theme of Aansu? Sorrow and melancholy. Which literary movement is Aansu associated with? It is associated with Chayavad. What does the title Aansu translate to in English? It means tears. Which famous Indian poet wrote Aansu? Jaishankar Prasad. Aansu is a reflection of the poet's feelings after whose death? After the death of his mother. How many poems are included in Aansu? 30 poems. What is the tone of the poems in Aansu? Melancholic. Which language is Aansu originally written in? It is written in Hindi. Aansu is an example of which poetic form? It is a free verse. Who is the central figure of emotional focus in Aansu? The central figure is the poet's mother. Which poetic device is predominantly used in Aansu? Metaphor. In which Indian city was Jaishankar Prasad born? He was born in Banaras, now Varanasi. What does Aansu primarily express? It expresses despair. What is the predominant mood conveyed through Aansu? Pessimism. What form of literature did Jaishankar Prasad contributed to other than poetry? All of the above. Novels, short stories, essays, all of the above. Which year marks the centenary celebration of Aansu in 2025? Aansu is considered a milestone in which literary tradition? In Hindi. Who is considered the leading figure of Chayavad movement along Jaishankar Prasad? All of the above. Harivansh Rai Bachchan, Mahadevi Verma and Sumitra Nandan Pant. All of the above. What poetic style is characterized by the use of abstract imagery in Aansu? The symbolism. Which emotion does Aansu primarily evoke in readers? Melancholy. How does Aansu differ from traditional epic poetry? It is personal and introspective. In which form are the emotions in Aansu primarily conveyed? In the form of monologue. Aansu belongs to which phase of Jaishankar Prasad's writing? Early phase. What is the narrative perspective used in Aansu? The first person narrative. What kind of imagery is predominantly used in Aansu? The visual imagery. How does Aansu contribute to the Chayavad movement? All of the above. By breaking traditional forms, by emphasizing individual emotions, by using complex symbols. All of the above. Aansu's language is best described as elevated language. What impact did Aansu have on Jaishankar Prasad's reputation? It established him a leading poet. So that's all for this.
Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for further notifications to my upcoming videos.
So these are the very short answers for the questions from your chapter Amritsar Agya by Bhishma Sani, and I am going to tell you the correct answer. And you can this might prove helpful to you to choose the correct answer from the objective type questions that are coming into your upcoming exams, external exams. So who is the author of Amritsar Agya? Bhishma Sani. In which language was Amritsar Agya originally written? Hindi. What is the central theme of Amritsar Agya? The trauma and experiences of partition. Which historical event forms the backdrop of the story? The partition of India. What is the protagonist's main concern in Amritsar Agya? Reaching Amritsar safely amidst communal violence. How does the title Amritsar Agya translate to English? Amritsar has arrived. What does the train journey in Amritsar Agya represent? The chaotic and perilous times during partition. Which character is central to the story of Amritsar Agya? The protagonist, a common person fleeing the riots. What does the destination Amritsar Agya symbolize for the characters? Safety and the end of their ordeal. What genre does Amritsar Agya belong to? It is historical fiction. What literary technique is prominently used by Bhishma Sani in Amritsar Agya? It is realism. How does Bhishma Sani depict the communal tension in the story? It is through vivid descriptions and interactions among characters on the train. How does the protagonist perceive the other passengers? With a mix of suspicion and solidarity. What is the significance of the train in the story? The train is a symbol of both hope and fear during the migration. What is the narrative style of Amritsar Agya? It is the third person narrative. What is the emotional tone of the story? It is a mix of anxiety, fear and hope. Which community does the protagonist belong to it in Amritsar Agya? It belongs to Hindu community. What does the protagonist hope to find in Amritsar? Safety and a sense of normalcy. What is the main conflict in the story? The main conflict is the struggle to survive and reach a safe place amidst the partition riots. How does fear influence the characters in Amritsar Agya? It drives their actions and decisions. What emotion dominates the passenger's mindset in the story? The fear. How does Bhishma Sani reflect the historical context in the story? It is through the experiences and dialogues of the characters. What does the train symbolize in Indian partition literature, including this story? The train symbolizes the movement, displacement and uncertainty. What type of conflicts are depicted in Amritsar Agya? Both internal and external conflicts. What literary device is used to convey the tension of the story? The suspense and foreshadowing. What role does fear play in the story? Fear influences the behavior and interactions of the characters. What emotion is primarily explored through the characters' interactions? It is suspicion. What does the journey to Amritsar symbolize in the story? It symbolizes the struggle and hope for safety during partition. What literary technique does Bhishma Sani used to enhance the realism in the story? The detailed descriptions and dialogues. How does the story end? It ends with the train arriving at Amritsar, symbolizing hope and relief.
Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for further notifications to my upcoming videos.
Found some one word questions from your chapter Aadhe Adhure by Mohan Rakesh. First question, who is the author of Aadhe Adhure? Mohan Rakesh. What is the English title of Aadhe Adhure? Halfway House. Which literary genre does Aadhe Adhure belong to?
It is a drama. In which year was Aadhe Adhure first published? In 1969. Who is the central female character in Aadhe Adhure? It is Savitri. Which theme is predominantly explored in Aadhe Adhure? Family discord and existential crisis. How many acts are in the play Aadhe Adhure? 3 acts. Who is the husband of Savitri in the play? Mahendranath. What is Savitri's main complaint about her family life? Lack of fulfillment and stagnation. Which character in Aadhe Adhure represents Savitri's sense of unfulfillment and search for completeness? Juneja. Which character symbolizes the external pressures and failed aspirations in Aadhe Adhure? Juneja. What does Aadhe Adhure primarily critique? The dysfunctional urban middle class family. Who are the children of Savitri and Mahendranath in the play? Their names are Bini, Kini and Ashok. What does the title Aadhe Adhure symbolize in the context of the play? The incomplete and fragmented lives of the characters. What profession does Savitri hold in the play? She is a working woman, often referred to as an office worker. How is Mahendranath depicted in the play? He is depicted as a failure and burden to the family. What does the character Bini represent in the play? The younger generation's struggle and disillusionment. Which character is often seen as the voice of reason or traditional values in the play? Mahendranath. What is a major conflict in Aadhe Adhure? The generational and ideological clash between Savitri and her family members. What is the tone of Aadhe Adhure? Pessimistic and critical. Who is the playwright Mohan Rakesh associated with in terms of literary movement? Nai Kahani, new story movement. How does the play Aadhe Adhure end? It ends with unresolved tensions and continuing family discord. Which character's actions signifies the cyclical nature of frustration in the play? Ashok, who mirrors his father's disillusionment. What is the setting of the play Aadhe Adhure? Urban middle class household. Which literary technique is heavily used in Aadhe Adhure? Symbolism. Which character's presence signifies societal expectations and the failure to meet them? Juneja. What is a recurring motif in the play? Incompleteness and fulfillment. How is the character of Kini portrayed? Kini is as a rebellious and critical voice within the family. Which year was the play Aadhe Adhure adapted into a film? There is no major film adaptation. The play remains significant in theatrical performances. What is the significance of the repetitive dialogues and scenarios in the play? They emphasize the stagnation and repetitiveness of the characters. And that's all. Keep watching.
Welcome all to the black hole of exploring knowledge, the analysis hole. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for further notifications to my upcoming videos.
These are the objective type questions from your chapter Tools of Technology for Translation. Which of the following is a primary function of computer assisted translation? CAT. Storing and retrieving previously translated content. What does CAT stands for in context of translation technology? Computer assisted translation. Each CAT tool is known for its extensive use in professional translation and has features like translation memory and term bases. STL Trados Studio.
What is a fuzzy match in CAD tools? A partial match with slight differences from previous translations. Which CAD tool is open source and popular among freelance translators? Omega T. Now machine translation and post editing. What does MT stands for in translation technology? Machine translation. Which of the following is a widely used machine translation? Google Translate. What is the main role of post editing in the context of machine translation? Improving the quality of machine translated content. Which term describes the process of combining machine translation with human editing? Machine translation, post editing, MTPE. What is the primary advantage of using neutral machine translation? It provides higher translation accuracy through context understanding. Now term-based glossaries. What is a term-based in translation tool? It is a glossary that stores and manages terminology. Which of these CAD tools is known for its strong term-based management features? STL Trados Studio. How does a glossary in translation technology assist translators? By providing consistent translations of terms. What is the primary benefit of using a term base in translation? It improved consistency and accuracy in terminology uses, not quality assurance and collaboration. Which feature in CAD tool helps in checking the quality and consistency of translations? Quality assurance tools. What is a key function of quality assurance tools in technology translation? It is spell check and verify grammar. Which CAD tool is known for the real-time collaboration and cloud-based translation features? MateCat. What does a translation management system TMS typically do? It manages project timelines, resources, and translation workflow. Now translation tools and integration. Which of the following CAD tools is known for integrating with multiple machine translation engines? MemSource. What is the function of alignment tools in CAD software? It creates translation memories from existing bilingual text. Which translation technology tool allows translators to work directly within Microsoft Office applications? It is a WordFast Classic. Which translation tool is known for providing extensive API support for integration with other systems? It is a MemSource. Now specialized tools and features. Which tool is designed specifically for managing and localizing multilingual websites? It is a SmartLink. What does the term localization mean in the context of translation technology? Adapting content to a specific locale or market. Which translation technology tool is often used for crowdsourced translation? Crowdin. What is the purpose of translation proxy tool? Automatically translate and display content on the websites without modifying the source code. Which tool focuses on optimizing and managing the translation of software user interfaces? Transifex. Now trends and future of translation technology. What is the expected impact of artificial intelligence on translation technology? It enhanced machine translation quality and automation. Which technology is anticipated to play a significant role in the future of translation tools? Neural networks. What is the benefit of integrating translation tools with content management systems? CMS. Faster and more seamless content. Now that's all and keep watching.
अमृतसर आ गया। भीष्म साहनी की एक मार्मिक कहानी है जो 1947 के भारत विभाजन के दौरान की घटना पर आधारित है। यह कहानी एक ट्रेन के डिब्बे में सवार यात्रियों की भावनाओं, डर और अनिश्चितताओं को दर्शाती है जो लाहौर से अमृतसर की ओर यात्रा कर रहे हैं। कहानी एक भीड़भाड़ वाले ट्रेन के डिब्बे से शुरू होती है। यात्री विभाजन के समय फैली हिंसा और अफरा तफरी से बचकर भाग रहे हैं। वे अलग अलग समुदायों से हैं, लेकिन सबके मन में एक ही भावना है, डर। सभी जानते हैं कि उस समय ट्रेनों पर हमले आम हो गए थे, इसलिए हर कोई चिंतित और सतर्क है। डिब्बे का माहौल भारी है। यात्री एक दूसरे को शक की नजर से देखते हैं, क्योंकि विभाजन ने लोगों के बीच भरोसा तोड़ दिया है। कुछ यात्री आपस में बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं ताकि अपना डर छिपा सके। कुछ चुपचाप बैठे अपने विचारों में खोए रहते हैं। हर छोटी सी आवाज या स्टेशन पर ट्रेन का रुकना सभी के डर को बढ़ा देता है। यह ट्रेन यात्रा केवल एक भौतिक यात्रा नहीं है, बल्कि विभाजन के दौरान लोगों के जीवन में आए बदलावों का प्रतीक भी है। यह अतीत से वर्तमान और भविष्य की अनिश्चितता तक का सफर है। यात्री अपने घर, सामान और यादें पीछे छोड़कर आए हैं। उनके पास अब केवल वही है जो वे जल्दी में साथ ला सके। जब ट्रेन अमृतसर के करीब पहुंचती है, यात्रियों की घबराहट और बढ़ जाती है। उन्हें यकीन नहीं है कि वे सुरक्षित अमृतसर पहुंच पाएंगे या नहीं। जब घोषणा होती है, अमृतसर आ गया, तो यात्रियों के मन में मिलीजुली भावनाएं उठती हैं। कुछ के लिए यह राहत का पल है, वे खतरनाक यात्रा से बच गए हैं, जबकि दूसरों के लिए यह उनके पुराने जीवन के अंत और नए कठिन जीवन की शुरुआत का प्रतीक है। जब ट्रेन आखिरकार अमृतसर पहुंचती है, तो यात्री ट्रेन से उतरते हैं। स्टेशन पर बहुत भीड़ है। शरणार्थी, सैनिक और स्वयंसेवक हर जगह नजर आते हैं। वहां का माहौल विभाजन के कारण हुए व्यापक कष्ट को दिखाता है। यात्री अपने अपने सामान और भारी मन के साथ ट्रेन से बाहर निकलते हैं। उनके लिए स्टेशन सुरक्षा का प्रतीक है, लेकिन यह उन्हें उनके घर और जमीन से हुए अलगाव की गहरी याद भी दिलाता है। कहानी की शुरुआत इस दृश्य से होती है, जहां निखिल अपनी पत्नी विमला को बाहरी दुनिया को जानने और समझने के लिए प्रेरित करता है। वह कहता है कि उसे घर की चारदीवारी में बैठे रहने के बजाय बाहर की दुनिया में जाना चाहिए। विमला एक अनपढ़ और घरेलू महिला है, जो अपने पति निखिल को पूरी तरह से समर्पित है। निखिल को एक समझदार और देखभाल करने वाले पति के रूप में दिखाया गया है। वह चाहता है कि विमला बाहरी दुनिया के अनुभव ले और अपना आत्मविश्वास बढ़ाए। कहानी स्वदेशी आंदोलन के समय पर आधारित है, जब लोग विदेशी सामानों का बहिष्कार करके देसी वस्तुओं को अपनाने में जुटे हुए थे। निखिल चाहता है कि विमला भी इस माहौल का हिस्सा बने। वह उसे बाहरी दुनिया से जुड़ने के लिए प्रेरित करता है। निखिल एक अंग्रेजी शिक्षक ढूंढता है, जो विमला को अंग्रेजी सिखा सके। इस प्रक्रिया में वह चंद्रनाथ बाबू से मिलते हैं और उनसे मदद मांगते हैं। चंद्रनाथ बाबू एक शिक्षक गिलबी का इंतजाम करते हैं, लेकिन कुछ दिनों बाद विमला इन कक्षाओं से ऊब जाती है और पढ़ाई छोड़ देती है। निखिल उसे बाहरी गतिविधियों में भाग लेने के लिए प्रेरित करता है और विमला स्वदेशी आंदोलन का हिस्सा बन जाती है। स्वदेशी आंदोलन में भाग लेने के दौरान विमला की मुलाकात संदीप से होती है, जो आंदोलन का नेता है। संदीप की आवाज और भाषण में ऐसा जादू होता है कि वह लोगों को अपनी ओर खींच लेता है। विमला उसके भाषणों से प्रभावित होती है और उसकी ओर आकर्षित हो जाती है। धीरे धीरे यह प्रभाव दोस्ती में बदल जाता है और फिर आकर्षण। संदीप उसे क्वीन बी कहकर प्रभावित करता है और उनके बीच एक मजबूत रिश्ता बन जाता है। संदीप के साथ समय बिताने और स्वदेशी आंदोलन में भाग लेने से विमला का आत्मविश्वास बढ़ता है। वह अब न केवल आंदोलन में भाग लेती है, बल्कि बड़े बड़े भाषण भी देती है। उसकी पहचान स्वदेशी आंदोलन की माता के रूप में होती है। लोग उसे संदीप जितना ही जानने लगते हैं। एक दिन विमला संदीप को घर पर खाने पर बुलाती है। संदीप निखिल से स्वदेशी आंदोलन के लिए उनके घर को मुख्यालय बनाने की अनुमति मांगता है। निखिल सहमत हो जाते हैं। धीरे धीरे संदीप उनके घर में ही रहने लगता है और इस पर लोग बातें करने लगते हैं। निखिल की विधवा बहन बरा रानी भी विमला पर ताने कसती है। संदीप को अब सत्ता और पैसे का लालच हो जाता है। वह विमला और अमूल्य, एक देशभक्त लड़का, से पैसे का इंतजाम करने को कहता है। अमूल्य बैंक लूटता है और एक कैशियर की हत्या कर देता है, लेकिन भीड़ उसे मार डालती है। विमला को अमूल्य की मौत का गहरा दुख होता है। इसके बाद संदीप विमला से पैसे मांगता है। विमला अपने पति की तिजोरी से पैसे और गहने चुराकर संदीप को दे देती है। संदीप पैसे और गहने लेकर भाग जाता है। संदीप के जाने के बाद विमला को अपने के पर गहरा पछतावा होता है। उसे समझ आता है कि निखिल एक आदर्श पति है जिन्होंने हमेशा उसका साथ दिया। वह निखिल से माफी मांगने का फैसला करती है। उसी समय निखिल दंगों में पीड़ित महिलाओं की मदद करने के लिए घर से निकलते हैं। विमला सोचती है कि वह निखिल से माफी बाद में मांगेगी, लेकिन कुछ घंटों बाद लोग निखिल को घायल अवस्था में घर लाते हैं। वह दंगों में बुरी तरह घायल हो जाते हैं। विमला उन्हें स्ट्रेचर पर देखकर फूट फूट कर रोने लगती है। कहानी यहीं खत्म हो जाती है और यह साफ नहीं होता कि निखिल बचते हैं या नहीं।
मन के साफ हमारे नेता श्वेतापति मेरी
ओह फैब
गोदरेज फैब लिक्विड कपड़ों को रखे व्हाइट और ब्राइट।
मेरी शर्ट और इज्जत दोनों बचा ली तुमने।
गोदरेज फैब लिक्विड सिर्फ 99 रुपीज।
So students, this is your previous year's question paper. मतलब ये आपका लास्ट ईयर का क्वेश्चन पेपर है जो एक्सटर्नल एग्ज़ाम में आया था। तो ये सिर्फ एक सैम्पल पेपर की तरह है जिसमें आपको आइडिया हो जाएगा कि किस तरह के क्वेश्चंस एग्ज़ाम में पूछे जाते हैं और किस तरीके से पूछे जाते हैं। तो ये और आपको इसका पेपर को ठीक से भरना है और इसका जो है आपको क्वेश्चन पेपर पर जो क्वेश्चन बुकलेट होगी इसका फ्रंट पेज जो है इस पे आप एंट्री सारी फिल कर लेंगे, अपने रोल नंबर इन वर्ड्स, इन डिजिट्स और कॉलेज का नेम। और आप नीचे इसकी इंस्ट्रक्शंस पढ़ेंगे सबसे पहले कि आपको कितने क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट करने हैं, कितने पेपर में हैं।